everyone. My name is Felicia Hill. I'm here representing Virgin Mobile and our program, The Regeneration, which is our cost marketing platform. I'm going to keep this rather conversational and tell you first a little bit about how we began the program and then speak more frankly about our rewards platform, a program we call FREE.I.P. I've had the privilege of being at Virgin Mobile since 2003, so I've watched this program grow from the days when it was just the idea in our CEO's head to an actual reality. Very exciting. I would say that in our company, because we had such a small start, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Virgin Mobile, but we began in about 2001. Went from 50,000 customers in 2003 when I joined to about 5 million within a short time span, probably 3 years. And it was around the time that we became profitable, we decided that we had to be more than just a phone company. Our customers expected it of us, and we wanted to stand for something in the marketplace. So very quickly, we organized a task force to begin thinking about what cause we could identify ourselves with. And it wasn't so much that we wanted to be breast cancer one month and something else the next, but that we wanted a cause we would commit ourselves to over a long period of time. And so we paneled a group of customers, asked them for insight into kind of what would matter to them. And based on the feedback we got, it was very clear that people wanted a domestic U.S. issue where they were helping young people who were somehow less fortunate than themselves. And so youth homelessness was brought to our attention, and we very quickly gravitated toward it. I think one of the key things is when you hear about homelessness, you typically think of older people. You think about people, even sometimes in a callous way, people who've brought it on themselves or for whatever reason were just victims of a hard time, but you don't really think about young people. We learned that there are 2 million young people every year who face bouts of homelessness, whether it's 6 months or longer, and that there just really isn't enough resources to address that population. In many cases, it's definitely an economic issue with their families. It can be drug addiction on behalf of the parents, later on sometimes themselves. Homophobia is a big one. And so we just very quickly started to gravitate toward the richness of the issue and the lack of awareness. I think when we also determined it just being a business and thinking kind of selfishly, we knew it was an uncluttered space, that a lot of people weren't talking about it, so it would give us a chance to kind of have a halo effect of here's something we stand for and here's a brand you can begin to associate with it. And we knew that Virgin Mobile is big on making stunts. I don't know if any of you all must be familiar with Richard Branson. I mean, how could you not be, right? But from the billionaire who launches from parachutes and planes, we knew how to bring attention to ourselves, so we knew that we could help in that way. Just very quickly, I'll go through this because I think it outlines kind of how we found our stride. In 2006, our very first effort was to lobby Congress to have the designation of November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. We call it NIAM for short, so if you hear me say it, that's what it means. But we worked with the panel, nonprofits who were in the space, as well as the singer-songwriter Jewel, who had spent a period of time being homeless. And so she testified to Congress, again, helping raise awareness. It was sort of standard stuff that you might see was our first approach. In 2007, we tried a program called Text to Clothe. Using mobile technology, you could just simply send a message, I think it was Karma to 68404, and you would trigger a piece of clothing to be donated on your behalf. That was through a partnership with American Eagle, who gave us over 200,000 items of clothing, and we created a distribution center for all of our nonprofit partners to be able to just go in and, through a logistics system, order what they needed for their kids. And that was pretty innovative at the time. But I think after 2 or so years, we realized, well, what's going to be next? So our next endeavor around the time of NIAM was to create something we called Homeless Youth TV. And Virgin's never been afraid of being a little bit sarcastic and irreverent. And so we were playing on the idea of reality shows. I don't know if any of you are familiar with our current campaign, Spera, but we really attempted to manufacture a celebrity couple, and we're actually quite successful. You should look it up, spera.com. But HYTV basically made a play on things like My Street 16 instead of My Sweet 16, and the idea of just taking reality shows that you saw out there and making fun of the fact that they didn't really mirror the true reality of kids who were in need. So that campaign was really great, but it was also kind of small because we didn't invest a lot of media. And I think when you're a smaller business, you're trying to figure out how you can do something good, how you can make an investment. You can't, maybe aren't the kind of organization that can just write, $1 million check, but you still want to leverage your resources in a way that you can help bring attention to the issue and some sort of result, as well as have it be a business benefit. So quickly thereafter, we came up with the idea of FREE.I.P, which you'll see at the end of 2009. That's the logo for it. And it played on the idea of being a VIP, but by volunteering, you would become a VIP. In 2009, we had our annual summer music festival that happens in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. And it was a year that was very tough because the recession was starting to hit in, and a lot of bands were canceling their U.S. tours, or they were starting internationally instead to get around it. And we weren't sure if we could have a festival, honestly. But we determined that we could if we had enough partner support, and that in doing so, we would make it more of a charitable event that people could feel the benefit of. It would be all the, the bottom line would go to youth homelessness in terms of volunteer time and people's donations. So we created this program called FREE.I.P, where people in Baltimore, DC, Boston, Chicago, New York, they were all able to volunteer and earn a ticket to this show. And it had been a 2-day festival previously. It went down to 1 day just in terms of managing costs, but it was a coveted annual summer music event, still is. And so FREE.I.P was born out of that sentiment. FREE.I.P has been something we've done since 2009. We've done it again this year. It started with festival. In the very first year, we had over 30,000 hours of volunteer time collected by people who wanted to gain a ticket. It's something that required them to volunteer 8 hours for and earn a ticket. It was amazing, and just that we were able to kind of generate that much time on people's behalf in the local area. Because of its success, because of all the press attention it brought us, we decided to take it out beyond that. When we began working with Lady Gaga in 2009, as you begin to work with celebrities, and many are very jaded, we realized that cause is contagious, and that Lady Gaga, being such a vocal spokesperson for LGBT issues, she really gravitated to the idea that we were helping homeless youth who were facing, in many cases, an issue of homophobia and being kicked out on the streets. So we were able to leverage the platform to allow people to go to any one of her shows, over 30 markets across the whole country, and volunteer for homeless youth agencies that specifically worked with LGBT kids. That was a huge benefit. At this time, the total results for FREE.I.P are over 75,000 hours that have been generated from it, over, I think it's about 20,000 supplies. In many cases, people don't just go and paint or clean up, but they actually bring hygiene supplies that are helpful to youth outreach, like shampoo, toothbrush, toothpastes, clean socks, underwear, that kind of thing. And we've been able, just as this year, because FreeFest just happened on September 10th, it's been about, $500,000 that we've raised, given just what we've done with FREE.I.P and people being able to both volunteer and donate time and money. So we're really proud of the results, and I think that for anybody who's out there with the business thinking about how to get involved with cause, one of the main things is to be organic, to keep it true to your brand. Virgin's always stood for music, always stood for fun. We knew that with kids in this day and age, that a lot of them are about armchair activism. They feel like when they're on Facebook or Twitter, that's doing something. And while it may help drive awareness, it's not really causing something new to happen in many cases. And that they would need a strong incentive to get off the couch, and certainly getting a free ticket to a sold-out show. You probably don't have the awareness. I'm sorry, I'm so used to living in this stuff, but FreeFest, just this year, I mean, the tickets were gone within 60 minutes. They're free. You go on Ticketfly and you claim your ticket, but they were gone within 60 seconds. People thought something was wrong with their website, but it was that popular of a show, and as you know, Lady Gaga being the entertainer she is, tickets were very hard to come by, so we felt like that was a strong incentive. The other thing I would say is keep it simple. Don't make it overly complex. Make it really easy for people to follow along, know what they have to do to get their reward. We were lucky to partner with CauseCast this year in building a new volunteer rewards platform. But keeping it simple is definitely a big one. And as I mentioned before, don't be afraid, don't shy away from cause. Don't think that what you're doing maybe is too little. Cause is contagious, and it does encourage and inspire people around you. So thank you for your time.